Louisiana beer reviews. DuClaw Brewing Company, established 1996 in Baltimore, Maryland, Baltimore County, Maryland. Then operations moved to Ewing, New Jersey in 2023. The PastryArchy, 16-ounce can, 9.4% alcohol. This is a version called Chocolate Cherry Cake Imperial Dessert Stout. And I saw that Alex, the beer master, Alex was reviewing this on one of their Wednesday night Wildcard Wednesdays, and I didn't watch it because I wanted to see about it and then see what he said after I gave my own non-influenced assessment. Ale brewed with lactose, cocoa, cherry puree, and natural flavor added. I don't understand this code, but it might be the 49th day of 2025. So I bought this in Hammond, Louisiana at the Red, White, and Brew on United States Highway 190 westbound. They have a pretty extensive variety of stuff to buy. And it's like a bar and a beer store. You could drink there and buy beer and listen to live music at night. Okay, a stout that will have you saying or shouting, "Seconds, please." This splendidly smooth pour is crafted with tart cherry and rich chocolate, dark and decadent. This brew is best served with a generous slice of crumbly cake. So no, I don't have any cake to have with it. But anyway, a lot of companies make these type of chocolate cherry type of situations. Yeah, a lot of companies. No, I could talk about Abita and everything, but there's so many. Okay. This was like $4.99 for the can. So we're looking at about, yeah, you're probably going to pay about $19.96 for a 4-pack. Maybe you find it for $17.99 on the low end. All right. Medium tan head and a very dark brown appearance. Now, I see some ruby highlights shining through. I did find these in New Orleans at Winn-Dixie. Some of these PastryArchy for like $12.99, the 4-pack. So maybe you could, but I don't know. But I guess different releases have different prices due to the cost of producing the product. All right, so the aroma. Oh, it gets an 89 on Beer Advocate, but just with like 30 check-ins. Untapped has hundreds and hundreds of check-ins, but they give it a 79, which would translate over to an 89 on Beer Advocate. So they're both saying it's very good, like a B+. All right. Chocolate. Yeah, chocolate. Cake. Maybe a little cherry, but I don't know if I'd be saying that if I didn't know it had the cherry puree in it. All right, let's go with the taste. Cheers. There are some video reviews. But not many. This beer was introduced in 2022. And I guess they still make it from time to time when I got a 2025 can. Get tart cherry. It says tartness. Get the dark chocolate. Bitterness is probably 3.5 out of 5 hop cones, or some of the bitterness might be coming from dark chocolate and cherry skins, because those will even be kind of bitter, you know. No, mine. Sweetness. You would think, and I would think, when I was going into this, it'd be extremely sweet. But really, it's not. I'm going to say 2.5 out of 5 sugar cubes. Body's high medium, The finish is dry, mostly dry. Now, when you get flavored malt beverages on the low end, you know, like your Smirnoff Ice Smash and your Mike's Harder or the Twisted Tea Extreme, which I've not tried yet, but I can figure out how it's going to taste, or the MXD, or from Canada, the original Club Tails. And some of them are cherry flavored. And Steel Reserve Alloy Series and the Ritas. Those all range like 8 to 12 usually. But the thing about those, the low end ones, they're very sugary sweet. And some of them use artificial sweetener. I don't mess with those, but they'll be so loaded with cane sugar. It's just like 4.5 at the low side of sweetness. It'll be a 4 out of 5. That's like the least sweet ones you'll find. 4 out of 5 sugar cubes. But many of them will be 5 out of 5. So they're just, and they'll use a very basic ale usually for a base, and they'll filter down like a vodka. So they might be using an ale base, but it's not really where the flavor is coming from. Now these, the craft flavored malt beverages, the Abita, DuClaw, the ones from Bourbon County, you know, Goose Island, St. Arnold in Houston. It's the same concept, flavored malt beverage, but their beer base will be almost the lead flavor, or at least a companion flavor, right? So you'll get the rich stout flavor, or the blonde ale, or something like that. Even with the New Belgian concoctions, the Voodoo Ranger, and some of those are like mid-range. You know, they're not low shelf like Mike's Harder, but they're definitely not high shelf like this. They're kind of mid-range, and they price them real low. But at least with those, even the grain liquid, and the grain liquid, you know what I mean, the ale, the barley and the hops will at least be side by side with the flavoring. But with these hi-hat versions, the base will be the lead flavor, the stout, the rich stout roasted malt, and it'll be enhanced by the cherry puree and the chocolate. Or even in the case of Aldi, they're the ones they get from State of Brewing, who also does a good craft beer company. What's that called, with the artwork on the cans? They'll have the beer base be in at least a companion. It's not all just flavored peanut butter and chocolate. Lead. Untitled Art. That's the one I'm thinking of. So this, you got the roasted malt. Actually, the body's just medium. I said high medium. It's just a medium body. And it's enhanced by the cherry, the tartness, a little bit of sugar, and some chocolate. So it's very balanced. The ones I named earlier, the lower shelf, they're more just like candy. It's like you go to the checkout at a store and they got the candy racks, Lemon Heads, and Sour Patch Kids, and Twix and all that. Those beers I'm talking about, they're just like those things at the checkout, but with alcohol. Basically, you say, you mean candy for alcoholics. I don't want to say it like that because it sounds terrible. I would say candy for alcohol enthusiasts. You said, yeah, but who drinks MXD and Mike's Harder and Four Loko and all that? And Four Loko uses artificial sweetener these days, so it's even more treacherous and wretched. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, who's drinking those at the convenience store, buying those? And I don't know, it's a question. But I would say that the audience buying the ones I name, are not the same people buying these, the DuClaw and the St. Otto and the Abita and the Bourbon County. I don't think it's the same. I don't think it's a whole lot of crossover. The ones buying the lower shelf flavored, they probably get them in a paper bag and maybe walking down the street with a straw, you know. And I just, because, you know, I think that's what the target is, just to get lit. And then you just want sugar sweetness, and you don't, I know, but I could be totally wrong. The people buying Steel Reserve Alloy Series or the Ritas or the old Natty Rush. They used to make Natty Rush. They even made Natty Daddy lemonade and watermelon at one time, but that didn't last. But maybe they have a lot of discernment. They might pour it in a glass, evaluate it, take notes. All of them, I don't know. I don't get that impression though. Anyway, this one's dynamite. I'm glad I found it. It's definitely worth the $4.99 per can, pint can. I would be very tempted to buy some more if I go back to Hammond, which I almost assuredly will. I'm going to go with 9.5 out of 10. A solid 8. 9.5 out of 10. I'm curious to see what Alex and the other people say about it from the last 3 years. So a most excellent beer. It's not above that, though. It's not, you know, like outstanding or world class, nothing like that. But it's a solid. And there's a new Abita Bananas Foster Stout. It's supposed to come out yesterday. I heard they were getting it yesterday, but I didn't see it. Could have been a delay. They've been talking about it for a week now. Bananas Foster Stout. I know that Bourbon County did one, you know, at their super high level, barrel aged, bourbon barrel aged, and you're looking at over $20 a 500 milliliter bottle. I mean, the Abita is going to probably be more like $13 for a 6-pack of 12-ounce bottles. But still, it'd probably be a really nice mid-range stout, flavor stout. So, most excellent, laissez-les bon temps relais, 9.5 out of 10. And I'm going to end this review by saying y'all go to Ewing, New Jersey, and visit the DuClaw. Well, and then they have the parent company. I think it's called River Horse.